What's up, guys? I hope you all are doing well. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video, we will be looking at exercise 52 of our Python exercise tutorial series. Without any further ado, let's get to it. Exercise 52. When analyzing data collected as part of a science experiment, it may be desirable to remove the most extreme values before performing other calculations. Write a function that takes a list of values and a non-negative integer n as its parameters. The function should create a new copy of the list with the n largest elements and the n smallest elements removed. Then, it should return the new copy of the list as the function's only result. The order of the elements in the returned list does not have to match the order of the elements in the original list. Write a main program that demonstrates your function. Your function should read a list of numbers from the user and remove the two largest and two smallest values from it. Display the list with the outliers removed, followed by the original list. Your program should generate an appropriate error message if the user enters less than 4 values. Okay, guys, that was kind of a long text prompt, but the question itself, this specific coding question is not entirely difficult, right? It's an interesting one. It's testing our ability to make use of functions as well as list operations. Okay, so as much as they are asking us to work with lists, they also want us to enclose our logic and our code in Python functions, so that makes it even more interesting and more intuitive. So let's get to it. First things first, guys, I will begin with the main function, define main. And really all they're asking from us here is to have an input prompt that's going to read values from the user. So as you can see, I've defined an empty list. I've called it values. You can call yours anything you like. So that's values. Now within the main function, we'll just call a random variable, call it s is equals to int input. Please enter a value. That's good. Okay, guys, so they don't really say how we can end this program. We do know for a fact, right, that there is a while loop that's going to run and take input. But now the thing is, they did not give us any criteria, okay, as to what should end the while loop. So all we can do is within this input prompt, we can just tell the user, you know what, enter a blank line to quit, or we can even say enter a 0 to quit. So let's do that. We'll just say 0 to quit, or we'll say type 0 to quit. That's good. Moving on, guys, it's time to start the while loop. So while s is not equals to 0, we will indent and let's continue building this program. So all we want to do is let's float the value. You see, a very good thing to do for this program, right? Why I'm saying float this value is because I think, this is kind of like a statistical kind of question, right? It deals with outliers. So instead of making s an integer, we won't typecast s to an integer, right? We'll assume that the user is entering numbers as input, and instead of saying type 0 to quit, what we'll say is let's say enter blank, or let's just say press enter to quit. That's better because think about it, we'll be working with a list in this specific program, right? And basically more than one list, as you'll see shortly. And the thing is, why should we only restrict ourselves to having whole numbers in the list? Because in the real world, we are not only going to be working with integers or whole numbers, right? We will be working with floating points as well. So that's why I think making our numbers, each of our numbers, a float is very good for this specific program. Okay, so let's do a so within the while loop we are taking more input. Num is equals to, oh well, we are floating the number that was entered. That's fine. And yeah, we need to have the input prompt again, so I will copy and paste this right there. Okay, that's good. um, One thing I should have done is, you see the values list that we created, all I am doing is appending num, because we have the list, so now we basically append to put values in it, and these values are coming straight from the user of the program, okay, via the input prompts. So that's good. Now they also told us, guys, if the user entered less than 4 values, we need to have an error message. So let's cater for that. We will indent outside the while loop. Within the main function, we say if this is an easy condition. So if the length of values, so len is Python's built-in function. If len values less than 4, we can come within this if statement and print you did not enter enough values. That's good. Within the else, so if they did not enter less than 4, they obviously entered more than 4, which basically means that we have that requirement. So in that case, the else will execute, and within this we say, with the outliers removed, the list is. So what we can do here is basically remove outliers values, and basically the number of values we want to remove. That should be good. Print the original data values. Okay, so that was kind of more code that we just typed out. If it didn't make sense, not to worry, because it is going to make sense. Now I just skip ahead, not really skip ahead, I just go ahead and type out or fully develop the main function before I actually define the logic functions for us. All in all though, what could have happened is, while creating your script, you probably would have stopped at this while loop within the main. Then you would have jumped to the top of the script, defined your logic functions, and then you would have tackled this portion here. Okay, because chances are you may not know what remove outliers is. Well, in this case, this is the point in which we basically cater for remove outliers function. It's the function that's going to be doing the processing for us, and it's returning something to the main function, and we are going to build this function up now. And the reason as to why, you may be wondering, when calling this function that does not exist, I passed in two parameters, values and a number. In this case, I passed in 2. So it's because they even told us, right? Write a function that takes a list of values. So values were just that argument I'm passing to it. So this function, remove outliers, will take a list of values as well as a non-negative integer n as its parameters. So let's go ahead and build this function out. Remove outliers, that's good. Open a parenthesis. We can call this parameter data. We can call the other parameter n. We don't have to, strictly follow this program to the T. You can call your parameters, give them any names you like, right? The most important thing though is that you understand what's happening. So I'm going to call mine maybe num outliers. I think that would make it a bit more understandable. So data num outliers, this is the remove outliers function that we are building. So Let's create another variable or object. We'll call it returned values. Since we are passing in values, we can call it return values. So that may be too long. Maybe return val. Yeah, retval, ret val. So that's fine. And we are calling sorted on the data. Data is the parameter. The value attached to this will be propagated into this function. As you can see, we are storing a copy. I explained in a previous video, in a previous lecture, I think it was the exercise 51, right? The one before this, about the sorted function and the sort method. I explained the difference there so you understand what this is doing. Moving on, it's very important for us to understand what they asking from us. They are requesting that we, let's see, they are requesting that the function create a copy of the list with the n largest elements and the n smallest elements removed. So that's done using simple for loop for I in range num outliers. We calling retval.pop. The pop is to remove the last elements from the back. We're calling a for loop again, and we will call num outliers as well. Retval.pop 0. We have the ability to pass the index within the pop function, right? The pop function is used to remove or pop elements from a list or array object. The pop element has a parameter called index, and by default the argument to that parameter is 0. That's why when we are popping from the end, we just call the pop function, because it basically, my bad, not 0, the default argument is -1, right? This is why it pops from the back of the list. And to remove those n elements from the front of the list, as you can see, zero indexed methods. So that's why we give 0 within the pop function. I do hope this is making sense to you. After all of that processing, all we can do is retval. Let's return that to the main function, and that concludes the program building. Now don't forget to call the main function at the end of everything, and this successfully concludes the coding of this program. I do hope this made sense to you guys. Do be sure to leave a comment for me so that I know that you are understanding the logic and stuff that we are speaking about. So there's nothing else for me to do. The way in which we run this program is basically by passing values to the program. You know, when we run the script, we'll be entering input in the form of input prompts or whatever, using that while loop, and each integer we enter, or floating or whatever, will be put into our values list. That values list is going to be passed to our function, our processing function called remove outliers, and we also have a number that's being passed to the function. This number can be changed from within the editor. Okay, so we leave it to 2 because as they told us, that they gave us, right, some specifications when running the program. Our function must be tested basically in this way, right? Remove the two largest and remove the two smallest values from it. So they also wanted us to display the list with the outliers removed, followed by the original list. And you know, we've done that successfully here. So the way in which we can conclude this video and this program completely is when we run the script. So let's go ahead and do that. Please enter a value, press enter to quit. So I'm assuming, right, if I press enter, it should quit. But now that I look at things, guys, it's not going to quit. Reason being, our while loop. I accidentally forgot to change the while loop. So I'll just terminate this program. Let's clear the console, and within the editor, there we just leave while s is not equals to a blank string. Don't forget to change that, guys. This was 0, and you know, since we've changed it from here, from the input prompt. We specified to the user that they should press enter to quit. Just change your while loop condition. Now we run the program. I'm doing values, so let's do 43, and we have the ability to also do floats. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, that's good enough. I think I'll press enter now to quit, and there we have it. With the outliers removed, the list is 13, 34, 43, 45. Notice, guys, this is sorted for us, right? The reason being is because what's basically the first line of output we see with the outliers removed, this one here is it's the array that's being returned from our remove outliers function, and the original array is the one that we entered, which is basically values in its raw form, right? Remove outliers is returning an array called retval that was basically standing for returned values, and the original array is taking on the name values, which is basically this portion of the output. Okay, this was a super interesting session. I do hope you found this video and this exercise interesting, guys. Do be sure to leave a like for the video, comment if you understand or if you need assistance. And with that, guys, thank you for watching. Good luck with your work, and I'll see you in the next YouTube video.